Hello, and welcome to our Sunday segment of Divine Femininity United. I'm your girl, Dr. Bianca Mz Bee Lee, and we are here for yet another chapter reading of this phenomenal book, Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender, written by the late, great David R. Hawkins. Phenomenal man, phenomenal works, phenomenal levels of consciousness he reached, my goodness. And he's showing us in his writings by way of his books and literature how to do the very same thing, not just how to reach it, but how to align with it, how to become one with it, how to remember who we are, reconnect to who we are, and how to be and demonstrate from that knowingness in this life, not having to wait until after this life is over to align with who we truly are, but to become that right now, demonstrate from that right now, you know, knowing and realizing who we are. But first, we have to release some things. We got to let some things go because since we've been born into this life, come on now, you all know we have adopted some ways that do not belong to us, whether we got them by way of, our elders who brought us in this realm, those who, we of course we're going to pick up attributes, habits, you know, ways of thinking and processes and religions and doctrines. We're going to pick all of those things up because we were born into collectives that was their way of doing things, which we then have learned to call traditions, and that's just our family cultural rituals, and those are that's just how we do and what we do. But not one time were we given the option of, number one, being asked if we want to subscribe to that same type of doctrine. There's a lot of things, you all, as you all know, that we were born into, that we were made to do, that we later discovered, wait a minute, this may not be quite right, okay? But we had to discover that on our own. Some of these things that we had to discover on our own, and that we are currently right now discovering, that we were given unknowingly, has then caused us to think a certain way, to go about life with a certain limited vision, to be stunted and stuck in some ways because we were given others things, right? Not to mention, we then gathered, as we journey through life, our own things, and then the things of our peers and the things of our environments and things like that. Come on. And right now, we have to undergo major physical, spiritual, psychological, emotional surgery. And we got to let some stuff go. It's a must. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We have to release and let some things go, because some things, you all, that we were given from the foundation of our life, from the day that we were born. If you all are familiar with the chakra system, there are 7 years of development per chakra, okay? So from the day we're born, from day 0 to 7 years old, that root chakra is being developed. How so? Whether you realize it or not, whether parents, whether you realize it, you're developing that child's chakra, or what, that chakra is being developed by way of that baby observing everything. The foundations of this little one's life and journey in this iteration, they're watching, they're observing, because they haven't been in this iteration before. So they're learning how to be a human by watching you, humans. They're learning. That is the foundation being laid right there. Now, question is, what are you teaching? What are you teaching? What are they learning from you that they will then later demonstrate in their lives? What mindset are they learning? What demonstration of love are they learning? What demonstration of peace and joy and happiness and liberation and freedom expression are they learning from you, or are they learning limitations? Are they learning fear? Are they learning prejudice? Are they learning, bondage? Are they learning lack, poverty? What are they learning? Are they learning anger, resentment? Okay, rebellion. What are they learning? What are they learning? Right? And whatever they are learning, whatever we were given from day 1 to year 7, developed our way of being. Don't touch that. Do this. Sit here. Go over there. Be quiet. Speak up. Da 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 da. Woo, woo, woo. Those are the rules that we were given. Those laid down our foundation. So if we went into our teen years, okay, from 7 to 14, which is when your sacral is being developed. Also in that sacral is when you learn, that's when you start having your little crushes, and I like her, I like him, and you start discovering your body parts and all of those things, and then you start speaking about what it is you want to be when you grow up, and the creativity of you, and your how you want to express yourself in your dress and in your personality, and who am I, and all of those things. That's when the sacral is developed. So if you're stunting their voice, say for instance, at the root area and level, then by the time they reach teen years, preteen years, they're not speaking up because they don't want to get in trouble, right? So they're hushing in all areas of life because they were taught at the root chakra area development, don't speak. Speak when I say so. You right? You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand, which is why this book here, Letting Go, is necessary, because some of the things that we have grabbed hold to, knowingly or unknowingly, must be released so that the true us can step forward, finally, once and for all. We can derobe of all of these imageries and personalities and habits and things that we've picked up over the course of our lives. And we can actually be who we are supposed to be, who we are meant to be in this iteration, okay? All righty. Now that foundation has been laid, if you have your book, please, please, please join me in reading this particular chapter. We are reading chapter 16. And that is entitled The Benefits of Letting Go. The Benefits of Letting Go. Before I get started, I want to let you all know we are airing live on several platforms. So we are on Clubhouse, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Let's see, several places, you all, simultaneously. So I thank you all, everyone who's listening by way of just listening in, because some people, they'll tell me they're listening to it. They listen to me as if, I'm on a podcast or something, So they'll listen to it while they're doing other things. And I appreciate you. I do appreciate you, because your presence is felt. Your energy is received. And I thank you for sharing it with us all, okay? At any point that you hear something that resonates with you, feel free to let us know. Put it in the chat, put it in the comments, and I will give voice to your words and share, because you may be asking a question or sharing an insight that we gain revelation from. So don't hold it, speak, share, you know what I mean? And so that we all can learn and grow together, okay? With that being said, we're going to move on to chapter 16, The Benefits of Letting Go. Emotional growth. The most obvious and visible effect of letting go of negative feelings is a resumption of emotional and psychological growth and the solving of problems, which often have been long-lasting and long-standing. There's a pleasure and a satisfaction as we begin to experience the powerful effects of eliminating the blocks to achievement and satisfaction in life. We soon discover that the limiting thoughts and negative beliefs, which we had naively held to be true, were all merely the result of accumulated negative feelings. See? They were only a result of accumulated negative feelings, what we've accumulated over the course of our lives. When the feeling is let go, then the thought patterns change from I can't to I can, and to I'm happy to do it. Entire areas of life can open up. What used to be awkward or unexpressed can become effortless and joyously alive. That's it. Illustrative of this progression is the experience of an intelligent, successful, middle aged professional man who all his life had been unable to dance. He wanted to dance in the worst way. And several times during his life had attended dancing classes. But each time he found himself to be stiff, awkward, and self conscious. By sheer willpower, he did manage at times to go through the motions on the dance floor, but never enjoyed it and always felt ill at ease. His movements felt stiff and calculated, and the whole experience was lacking in satisfaction, doing nothing for his self esteem. About after a year of working with the mechanism of surrender, he was at a party with someone who kept insisting that he get up and dance. You know I can't dance, he said. Oh, come on and try it, she entreated. She persisted and said, forget about your feet. Just watch me and do what my body does. Reluctantly, he agreed, and he kept letting go of his feelings of resistance and anxiety. On the dance floor, he let go completely. In an instant, his inner feelings ascended the scale from apathy to love. And to his amazement, he suddenly began to dance like he had always dreamed of and envied. The realization of I can't do it hit him, and he went from love to joy and even to ecstasy. I can do it hit him. His delight radiated to everyone. Friends stopped to watch. From a state of high joy, he suddenly went into the experience of oneness with his dance partner. He suddenly saw his own higher self looking out of her eyes and realized that there was actually only one higher self behind all of the individual selves. Yes, he and she became telepathically connected. He knew her every step a split second before she took it. They were in perfect harmony and danced as though they had practiced and danced together for years. He could hardly contain his joy. The dancing became effortless and began to happen on its own, without any conscious thought on his part. The longer they danced, the more energy he felt. It was a peak experience that was to change this man's life. He went home that night and danced some more. Freestyle disco dancing had always terrified him more than any other because there was no form to be memorized. It necessitated spontaneity and a free feeling, which is just what he had specifically been unable to experience previously. At home, he turned on the disco music and began to dance for hours. He watched himself in the mirror, fascinated by the body's surrender and the inner feeling of freedom. All of a sudden, he remembered a previous lifetime in vivid detail. Wow. He had been a great dancer in that lifetime, and now he began to remember the specific instructions that he had been given to him, that had been given to him by his teachers in that lifetime. When he followed their instructions, the results were amazing. He discovered that there was a vertical gravitational center of balance within himself, and he began to rotate about it in a perfect balance. The movement was effortless, and he became merely the witness of the dancing. It was no longer any feeling of I. There was just the joy and the dancing itself. Now he instantly understood the very basis of the Sufi dancing of the whirling dervishes. Their ability to whirl and spin without dizziness or fatigue. That certain state of consciousness ensued from the surrendering of the individual self. The breakthrough that this man experienced on the dance floor then transferred itself to any other previously blocked areas of his life. Where there had been limitation, now there was rapid expansion. These changes were very obvious to his friends and family, whose positive feedback increased his self-esteem and his desire to keep letting go of the negative feelings and thoughts that had blocked the experience of joy in his life. That's awesome. This experience had been cited in some detail for a number of reasons. It illustrates the scale of consciousness that we presented in a previous chapter. For 50 years, this man had been at the lowest level of the scale in this area of his life, with the accompanying belief that I can't. The inhibition decreased his self-esteem and resulted in avoidance. For years, he managed to avoid social affairs where there would be dancing. He was angry at himself for his inhibitions, and he would feel angry when anyone tried to get him to dance. In a matter of seconds and minutes, he experienced every emotion of the whole scale and went all the way to the top. At that point, there was the emergence of a higher consciousness with sudden spiritual awareness of a very high order. With higher consciousness came understanding and the release of psychic ability, telepathic communication, synchronicity, and past life recall. As a result, his life showed a behavioral change, and his momentum removed an endless series of blocks and reinforced the growth motivation that was already in progress. That's awesome. The rate of emotional growth reported by those who use the mechanism of surrender is related to the consistency with which they surrender their negative feelings, and there is no relationship to age. People have ranged in age from the teens to the 80s with equal benefit. Repressed and suppressed feelings require counter energy to keep them submerged. It takes energy to hold down our feelings. As these feelings are relinquished, the energy that had been holding down the negativity is now freed for constructive uses. Consequent to letting go, there is an increase in available energy for creativity, growth, work, and interpersonal relationships. The quality and enjoyment of these activities increase. Most people are too exhausted to bring a really high quality into their experiences unless the negative programs opposing them have been resolved. Man, oh man, oh man, look at that. He let go. He let go. He allowed himself to step out of his fears and limitations. He let go. He no longer cared about what the thoughts of the other people would think, and his self-esteem. Like his partner, his friend said, don't worry about your feet. Forget about your feet. Look at my body. Look and do what my body does. Stop being so calculated. Stop trying to be perfect. Just do, just move, just act, and allow yourself to surrender to the process and watch and see it'll become fluid. And sure enough, it became fluid. That's awesome. Built up his confidence, all of those things. That's what's up. Sometimes all it takes is just you doing it. Just do it. Do it scared. Do it scared, but do it. Right? Do it intimidated, but do it. Do it. Okay? Do it. Do it quaking in your boots, but do it. Right? And before you know it, all of the fear, all of the trepidation, all of the worry, all of the, what are they going to think? All of that is going to dissipate. It's going to dissipate, okay? Because fear stands no chance in the face of courage, period, okay? Next section, problem solving. The effectiveness of the letting go mechanism in problem solving often is quite astonishing. Understanding the process involved here is very important because it is quite different than the world's usual methods. The approach that brings fast and easy results is the following. Don't look for answers. Instead, let go of the feeling behind the question. Don't look for answers. Instead, let go of the feelings behind the question. When we are surrendered on the feeling behind the question, we can let go of any other feelings that we might also have about what seems to be the problem. When we are finally and fully surrendered on all components, the answer will be there waiting for us. We won't have to look for it. Consider how simple and easy this is as compared to the mind's usual long, drawn out, inefficient attempts at problem solving. Usually the mind hunts and pecks endlessly, fumbling around with first this possible answers, and then that possible answer. The reason the mind can't decide is because it is looking in the wrong place. Let's see how the system works with a common everyday example. Let's say that we disagree with our mate on which movie to watch. We look to see what the feeling is behind the problem. In this case, let's say that we find the feeling of anger and resentment, specifically that we feel resentful about the lack of romantic time spent together. What we really want tonight is affectionate time. Okay, is affectionate time spent together. As we let it be okay inside ourselves that what we really want is affectionate togetherness, it suddenly dawns on us that We don't want to go to the movie at all. We just want to be together. Or the opposite might happen. We might find that the feeling behind wanting to go to the movie is fear because we want to avoid spending the evening talking to and being close to our mate. Oh man, that is real. We see that the feelings we have built up are unpleasant. We have resentment. So we let go of wanting to modify that feeling and we just let it be there. It's okay to have that resentment. As we surrender our resistance to the resentful feeling, we feel less guilty. We admit to our mate that we have had a resentment. A dialogue starts going, and the other person's feelings are cleared up as well. We both feel relieved and closer. And we then say, to heck with the movies. Let's stay home, make love, and go for a walk on the moonlight, in the moonlight. Okay. This approach is rewarding in all decision making. When we first clear out the underlying feelings, the decisions are more realistic and wise. That's it. That's it. Ooh, that's it. Making decisions full of emotion and unresolved matters, undertones, and all of those things that we're harboring and holding on to, refuse to let go and talk about. And oh man, listen, I counsel a lot of couples, and honey, this is one of the things that we deal with right here. Think of how often we have changed our mind and regretted past decisions. That is because there was an unrecognized and unrelinquished feeling behind the decision. When the action that was decided upon is taken, the underlying feeling shifts. Then, from the viewpoint of the new feeling space, the decision turns out to be wrong. This happens with such regularity that most people develop a fear of decision making because it turned out to be wrong so often in the past. Man, ooh, fear of deciding, the fear to decide because in times past you made decisions and they turned out to be the quote unquote wrong decision, and in fear of having to go through that pain, that struggle, that process all over again, you just simply don't want to decide anymore because what if it's the wrong decision? That is wild, but that is a real matter. Problem solving using the mechanism of surrender can often be lightning quick with problems of long standing. To discover how fast it can work, let's try it out. Take several problems of long standing and stop looking for the answers. Look to see what the underlying feeling is that produces the question in the first place. Once that feeling is let go, the answer will present itself automatically. Man, so very true. Next section, lifestyle. A lot of our activities and attachments are based on fear and anger, guilt and pride. As these negative feelings are relinquished in any given area, we move up to courage. On that level, changes in life begin to occur. Or if we choose to continue the same activity, the motivation is different, is a different and is different, and consequently, we will experience different results than in the past. The emotional payoff will at least be different. Instead of grim satisfaction, we may experience joy. We may find ourselves doing the same activity as before, but now we do it out of enjoyment rather than obligation. We do it because we want to, not because we have to. The energy requirement will certainly be much less. One delightful discovery we will make is that our capacity for love is far beyond what we ever dreamed. The more we let go, the more loving we become. More and more of our life will be spent doing things that we love to do with people for whom we feel increasing love. As this happens, our life becomes transformed. We look different. People respond differently to us. We are relaxed, happy, and easygoing. People are attracted to us because they feel comfortable and happy around us. Waitresses and cab drivers suddenly mysteriously become attentive and courteous, and we will wonder what has come over this world. The answer to that question is you have. Come on. As we let go the negative, we come into our own power. It happens on its own. Happiness was in there all along, and now it shines forth after the blocks to it have been surrendered. We're now influencing everyone with whom we come into contact with in a favorable way. Love is the most powerful of the emotional energy vibrations. For love, people will go to any lengths and do things that they would never do for any amount of money. It's true. When the negative blocks and I can'ts are removed, whole new areas of life open up to us. Success stems from doing what we like to do best. But most people are tied down to what they imagine they have to do. Come on. It's true. Ooh, it's so true. As limitations are relinquished, whole new avenues of creativity and expression become available. Let's take the example of a young woman with a lot of natural musical talent who was spending most of her time at a boring job, which she felt she had to stick to for financial reasons. How many of us have done that? Oh my goodness, where we feel we have to stick to this job because this is our livelihood and how we eat and how we feed our children and all of those things. I'm telling you, be stuck at a job you can't stand. You're not productive, you're not happy, oof, my goodness, we've all done it. What she really liked to do was play musical instruments when she was alone at home. It was something that she did strictly for personal enjoyment. Because of the lack of self confidence, she seldom played for other people, even close friends. After she began to let go of her inner limitations, all of the low energy feelings that were blocking her expression, her abilities and confidence grew so rapidly that she began to play in front of public gatherings. Her talent was well received, and a busy musical career ensued. She made a professional recording that was sufficiently successful that she could cut back to working part time. That's it. And she began to pour more time and energy into what was now a blossoming career that brought her great joy and satisfaction. Although she had known nothing about business, she now started her own musical business and within a year was distributing the recordings nationally, then in Europe. To her delight, she found that she was very successful by doing what she liked to do best. Her increasing vitality and happiness were apparent to everyone, and success spread to other areas of her life. Another example is that of a middle-aged engineer that with no creative ability who had always hated poetry. After learning to let go of his negative feelings, suddenly he found himself writing haiku, which is a formal Japanese poetry style. He began writing reams of it effortlessly and later developed the capacity for automatic writing. Still, another example is that of a 60-year-old woman who decided to return to college part time, even though she already had a full time job. Eventually, she attained her bachelor's degree, then her master's degree, and finally a PhD, becoming an important executive with great responsibilities. There are literally thousands of examples that could be cited of a rapid expansion that take place of people's life when the I can'ts are surrendered. Life situations, often of long standing, may be suddenly resolved. Paradoxically, such breakthroughs and expansions may be upsetting to friends and family members because of the shift of balance. Listen, I believe he's about to go into some places. Listen, he said, these breakthroughs and expansions, like your breakthroughs and your expansions, may be upsetting to friends and family members because of the shift of balance. Listen, I'm telling you the truth. When you start to expand and you start to grow, those people who were accustomed to you being lowly about life and about yourself, when you start to see yourself in a better light, when you start to operate from your newness, oh, they take offense to it. Oh, you, that's not you. You changing. Oh, I don't know who this is. Good. Okay, good. Things that we had done out of constriction, fear, guilt, or a sense of duty may be suddenly thrown overboard. New levels of consciousness change perception and new horizons open up. Many of the motives that drive people may suddenly become meaningless. Such things as money, fame, esteem, position, prestige, power, ambition, competitiveness, and the need for security diminish. They are replaced by the motivations of love, cooperation, fulfillment, freedom, creative expression, expansion of consciousness, understanding, and spiritual awareness. There tends to be more reliance on intuition and feelings than on thinking, reason, and logic. That's it. People who are very yang may discover their yin side. Yes, the balance, and the vice versa. Rigid patterns give way to flexibility. Safety and security become less important than discovery and exploration. Personal lives pick up momentum, and movement replaces stuck in a rut life patterns. One surprising observation about the mechanisms of letting go is that major changes can take place very rapidly. Lifetime patterns can suddenly disappear, and long-standing inhibitions can be let go of in a matter of minutes, hours, or days. Rapid changes are accompanied by an increased aliveness. The life energy set free by the letting go of negativity now flows into positive attitudes, thoughts, and feelings with a progressive increase of personal power. Thoughts are now more effective. More is accomplished with less effort. Intention is made powerful by the removal of doubts, fears, and inhibitions. With the removal of negativity, dynamic forces are unloosed so that what were once impossible dreams now become actualized goals. Man, the benefits of letting go. Next section, resolution of psychological problems, comparison with psychotherapy. In general, letting go is often more rapid than psychotherapy. Man, come on, letting just the act of letting go is quicker than undergoing psychotherapy, you all. Man, and no doubt less expensive. Hello, because you got to pay for psychotherapy when you can simply for free release and let go. Man, it is often more liberating and stimulating to the growth of consciousness and awareness. Psychotherapy, however, is better designed to elucidate underlying patterns. The two may work well together. Yes, the mechanism of letting go facilitates and speeds up psychotherapy. It's true. And it alleviates its goals and elevates its goals. Okay. Psychotherapy may be more gratifying intellectually because of its verbal nature and its focus on the whys behind behavior. Absolutely. Which is what I do. I'm a psychotherapist. Okay. But paired together, yes, if you need someone to be there to journey along with you to help you get to the root and the seed and the whys of behaviors, then absolutely. But if you have the ability to do it yourself, okay, then do that. All right. It says, however, that is also its limitation. Too often, intellectual insight is all that's really achieved. Come on. And the emotional working through is slow, often painful, and ultimately avoided. That's it. That's it. Ooh, you all, I'm writing a book right now. You're all going to see. I explain. I explain the need, the necessity of wholeness inside of healthcare, right? Because contrary to popular belief, healthcare doesn't focus on wholeness. Healthcare focuses on suppression. It focuses on bandage work, right? Because its profitability comes when you return. Huh? Okay. All right. But we're talking about the integrating of the spiritual aspect of us, which is our true self, which is what he's talking about in this book as far as how to return to wholeness. How do I get to a place where I don't need to return to the doctor, where I don't need to keep, rolling around this merry-go-round about the same matter over and over again? See, when you do bandage work and you comb over situations, you're only dealing with surface problems, surface matters. You're not getting to the why, the seed, the actual root, the reason why the behavior is what it is in the first place. Okay. So like he said, psychotherapy may be more gratifying intellectually because of its verbal nature and its focus on the whys behind behavior. However, that is also its limitation. Too often, intellectual insight is all that's really achieved, and the emotional working through is slow, often painful, and ultimately avoided. The mechanism of letting go on the other hand, is concerned with this emotional what from moment to moment. without involving the intellect. That's it. The why becomes apparent of itself once the what has been relinquished. It's one thing to analyze the basis of depression, and quite another to enter fully into the depths of hopelessness by letting go of your resistance to the feeling. It's it. By allowing the full feeling of it and by letting go of any sensation, every thought, and every little payoff you are getting from it, you are free. That's it. Because to sit in a feeling of hopelessness, to sit in that feeling, and you've programmed yourself to sit in that feeling day after day, year after year, okay? Then that becomes your narrative. It becomes your storyline. It is the thing that you use to gain attention, uh, a supposed encouragement, motivation, people calling and checking in on you. So there's a payoff to sitting in that lowliness, okay? Lowliness. There's a payoff to that. So oftentimes a lot of people fear releasing those things, because what if I release this and I'm now better and I don't need the pick me ups and things like that, and people start to forget about me. That's the fear. Those are real matters to you all. Like, people will remain in their lowliness because it garners them attention that they're fearful that they won't have outside of it. and they believe it'll cost them more if they release. That's a real thing. That is a real thing. How many of us, if we just think about it, right? How many of us have remained in certain situations and with a certain mindset and in certain behaviors because we knew that someone was going to be there for us? Man, listen. See, we got to have these real, transparent, mirror reflective conversations, because you cannot heal what you refuse to reveal. Okay? We're coming out of it. We're talking about letting go here. We're talking about letting go, releasing. Okay? Releasing. By allowing the full feeling of it and by letting go of every sensation, every thought, and every little payoff you are getting from it, you are free. It's not necessary to probe the why of depression to become free from the what of it. The goals of letting go are far beyond those of psychotherapy. It's true. The ultimate aim of letting go and surrendering is total freedom. The goal of therapy is readjustment of the ego to a more healthy balance. Exactly. The two systems are based on different paradigms of reality. The objective of psychotherapy is to replace unsatisfactory mental programs with more satisfactory ones. In contrast, the objective of letting go is the elimination of limiting mental and emotional programs. It is the attainment of an unconditioned mind and ultimately transcendence of the mind itself to higher states of consciousness and love and peace. In therapy, there is dependence on therapists and their training and techniques. And there's also reliance on a psychological theory to which the therapist and the patient both subscribe. That is a fact. This is why me as a psychotherapist, I'll take on a client. I give them a year, 1 year. I do not keep a client past a year. Because if I do my job right and they do theirs, they won't need me past a year. Okay? At that 6-month mark, I reduce weekly sessions to bi-weekly. See, what we're going to do, we're going to wean you off of this because you're not going to become dependent on me. Nope. My goal is to guide you to seeing who you truly are and to guide you on your journey of going within to find your own answers here on out. Okay? That's my goal. That is my goal. To make you to understand that you had it all along. Okay? Sometimes we just need a slight reminder. And sometimes we need someone to help us and to show us and do. And that's what's up. That's what we're here to do. We are here, like I state all the time, we're holding each other's hand, walking each other back home to our most higher, greater, whole divine self, right? So yes, we may need a mentor, a journey partner along the way. But once you get yourself to a place where you no longer need training wheels and you can walk on your own, then you can release that journey partner and walk alone, right? Because you now know how to resolve any matter here on out. And then you discover by the end of that year, you discover that everything that I deemed a problem before was never really a problem. The only problem that I ever had was a problem that I didn't know who I was. That was my only problem. And then once I discovered through working with Dr. B, once I discovered who I am, because that's the first question I asked at first session. Do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? Once I get that answer, once I'm able with working with her to discover that answer, then everything that I deemed a problem, I now see as an opportunity to demonstrate who I am. There it is. So not to say, trust me, I'm in the realm of wellness and therapy. So it is necessary. Dr. David Hawkins here was in the realm of therapy. So absolutely it's necessary for those who absolutely need it. Okay. It's just like, say, for instance, for those practitioners or spiritualists who utilizes crystals and gems or cards, tarot cards and things like that. Those are tools, much like the Bible. The Bible is a tool. Okay. It's a tool. However, once you align and know who you are and become the tool, then you no longer need the tool. You become the crystal. You become the tarot. You become the Bible and the living word and what it is and what it says. You become what that thing is and the power that it possesses. You no longer need the tool. Right? That's discovering. That is having someone there to journey with you to help you to discover who you are truly and the magnitude of your power, the power of your higher self. Once you have someone to help you with that, then yes, you no longer need any of that. And like he said, it is the attainment of an unconditioned mind and ultimately transcendence of the mind itself to higher states of consciousness of love and peace. In therapy, there's a dependence on the therapist and their training and techniques, and there's also reliance on a psychological theory to which the therapist and the patient both subscribe. Scientific research reveals that the results of therapy are not related to the therapist's school of psychotherapy, right? Training or technique. Instead, the results are related to the interaction between them and the degree of the patient's desire to improve. That's it. That's it. The results are related to the interaction between them, myself, the therapist, and the degree of the patient's desire to improve. Because I can't work harder for you than you are willing to work for yourself. Either you want to be free of this or you don't. Okay? I'm not the fairy godmother. Okay? I am not. So I can't wave my magic wand, sprinkle pixie dust, and then poof, you are free of any issues that you got going on. That is not the ability that I have. All right? You have to have a desire to improve. You have to have a desire to let go. You have to have a desire to be free of all of these things that keep you low, keep you in these circumstances. You have to have a desire, okay? As well as the patient's faith and confidence in the therapist. So you got to have a desire to do the work, and you got to trust the one who's walking you through it. Boom. Therefore, psychic factors are operating in which psychotherapy is unaware. Absolutely. So the spiritual aspect and the therapy aspect combined is where you get your optimum results, for sure. With the mechanism of letting go, there is no patient role and no dependency on another person or theory. The very wellspring of neurotic patterns automatically unfold as they are acknowledged, relinquished, and disappear. Acknowledged, relinquished, and then they disappear. Again, you cannot heal what you don't want to reveal. So you have to acknowledge, you have to state where I am. I have to say where I am right now. I can't be in denial of where I am and then want to be free from that area of where I am. Come on now. Even in AA or Narcotics Anonymous, the first step to recovery is acknowledgement, admitting, okay? Their basis is often at depths untouched by psychotherapists, except for the few holistic frameworks. For example, the Jungian analysis, the transpersonal psychologist, things like that, okay? Therapy can be based on a limited understanding of the total mind. It commonly addresses itself only to a portion of the ego. It ignores and does not comprehend the great forces that determine, drive, and control the mind. Since the purpose of most psychotherapy is a well-adjusted ego, there's no conception of what is beyond the ego. Exactly, which is why, like I said, I'm writing the book about reaching wholeness in healthcare. Because healthcare, as it stands, outside of spirituality, because anything scientific has to be proven, it has to be measured, it has to be, how can it be reproducible? How can it be, everything has to be proven, okay, in science, which is the limitations of therapy, because it's based on the logic, reasoning. But then enters spirituality. Combined with science, spirituality can be expressed. Okay? Combined with science, wholeness can be reached. Wholeness can be reached. Spirituality combined with natural studies, the wholeness can be reached. Okay. I do not understand to this day, as a doctor, as a practitioner in wellness and things like that. I do not understand how any doctor sees any productivity in moving forward in wellness and not focusing on and not adding in the spiritual aspect and spiritual wellness of a person, going beyond the ego. Okay, I don't understand it, because you're never going to reach complete wholeness with your patient, ever. You have to transcend that. The purpose of letting go, in contrast, is the elimination of the ego. The ego is fearful and limited, and when it is surrendered, the inner higher self stands forth, and what was always more powerful is revealed. More psychotherapies have no real knowledge of the higher self and are therefore blind to reality itself. That's it. As for efficacy, psychotherapy is like a horse and buggy, while the mechanism of surrender and letting go is like a spaceship. Come on here. And the time it takes for therapy to slowly poke about a limited area, letting go has already moved far beyond it into a whole new dimension. That's it. Letting go has a peculiar advantage in that the surrendering of one negative feeling also relinquishes the energy behind many other negative feelings. So there's a constant across the board effect. For instance, a successful and well-educated man had a lifelong terrible fear of heights, an intense phobia. At the time that he learned how to utilize the mechanism of surrender, he had many pressing problems in his life. After learning how to surrender, he was busy with letting go of his feelings and fears about major life problems and never got around to specifically working on his lifelong fear of heights. When he was later in a situation involving standing on a roof, he was amazed to discover that his fear had greatly lessened. He was delighted and went to the edge of the roof, where he sat dangling his feet. He was now able to get up on ladders and go on the roof for an hour with no discomfort. This illustrates that as one fear is relinquished, all fear is diminished non-specifically. Come on here. Psychotherapy aims at the amelioration of neurotic patterns, exactly, proven things. Letting go, however, is designed to undo the underlying causes of all neurotic formation. It undoes the basic structure of maladaptive feeling and behavior. Psychotherapy seeks for an improvement in neurotic balance. Letting go, however, eliminates it altogether. Come on here. Like I said, bandage, suppress. That's what wellness, that's what the healthcare does. Bandage, it does surface work. But when combined with spiritual aspect of it, it supersedes. It gets to the root and purges the root of these issues altogether, eliminating it altogether. A limitation of most psychotherapeutic frameworks is that the therapist is constricted to what the world calls healthy. Come on here. Functioning ego with all its restrictions. In this paradigm, a healthy patient is considered to be one who shares the same illusions and limitations condoned by society and the therapist. Exactly. By contrast, the purpose of the mechanism of surrender is to transcend the illusions of the world and reach the ultimate truth behind it, which is higher self-realization. Do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? I didn't ask you what your name was. I didn't ask you what your job was, what title you have, what's your role. Are you a son, daughter, mother? I didn't ask you any of that. Those are roles and names that you have obtained since being in this life. Who are you, though? Who is the you that was you before you in this life became you? That's what we need to get to. Higher self-realization. And to discover the very basis of the mind itself, the source of all thought and feeling. That is the question. That's the question. See, we have forgotten. And as a therapist who also is proficient in spirituality, then what I do is I become your memory coach. Okay? Because once you align, like he stated here in this book, once you align with who you truly are, then you relinquish all of the limiting things that this human existence has made you believe you were. The lies, the lies, the lies, the lies. And as long as you believe and subscribe to the limited lies that you've been told that you were conditioned and programmed that you were, as long as you're subscribed to that, you will remain tethered to those lies and those limitations. But once you transcend and you step into who you are, you become reacquainted, remember, reattach, reconnect, realign with you. All of that other stuff. Like he said, you can start off working on one fear and all the rest of them going to fall off automatically because it's no longer part of your makeup. Period. The goal of letting go is the elimination of the very source of all suffering and pain. Listen, the goal of letting go is the elimination of the very source of all suffering and pain. This sounds radical and startling, and in fact it is. Ultimately, all negative feelings stem from the same source. Thank you. When enough negative feelings have been relinquished, the source reveals itself. When that source itself is let go of and disidentified with, the ego dissolves. The source of suffering, therefore, loses the very basis of its power. Each of us has a limit to the amount of negative feelings we have stored up. When the pressure behind an emotion has been let go, that emotion no longer occurs. For instance, if fear is constantly surrendered for a period of time, eventually it runs out. It then becomes difficult or almost impossible to feel further fear. It takes progressively more and more of a stimulus to elicit it. Finally, the person who has surrendered a great deal of fear actually has to search for it diligently. Exactly. The energy of fear simply isn't there anymore. Anger also progressively diminishes so that even a major provocation fails to elicit it. A person with little fear or anger feels primarily love all the time and experiences a loving acceptance of events, people, and the vicissitudes of life. The goal of surrender is transcendence. Psychotherapy accepts levels of behavior as healthy that, from the viewpoint of total freedom, are unacceptable. Exactly. For instance, in psychotherapy, minimal fear, anger, and pride might be considered necessary or acceptable levels of functioning and perhaps even healthy, quote unquote. But as we have seen, the innate destructiveness behind those lower states is ultimately not acceptable. Given the power of surrender to transcend them totally, beyond the quote unquote acceptable level of functioning awaits our greater destiny, which is total freedom. Man, oh man, oh man, that was good. That was good, you all. That was the conclusion of chapter 17. Man, whoo, amazing. I love it. I love it. These are the benefits. We just finished reading the benefits of letting go. The benefits of letting go. The ultimate benefit is to transcend these limitations to get to the you that you are truly and wholly without any type of connection to what was. You connect to and live out what is. What is, who is, okay? In this life, not having to be this circumstance or these situations or these attitudes or attributes and all of this stuff. You don't have to be that. It is a decision. It is a decision. Man, oh man, the benefits of letting go. Let it go. It's no longer, it's not serving you. It never was, to be honest. Let it go. 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 Next chapter, chapter 17, we'll be reading on Tuesday evening, is entitled Transformation. Who's ready to transform? Yes, who is ready to transform? I love it. This is good, you all. Listen, if you don't have this book, I don't know what you tripping about, okay? Get this book. If you don't, even if you don't read it with us, read it for yourself. Get this book, okay? So to get your own free ebook PDF version of this book, email me at info@biancamzbeelee.com. Email me and get your free copy so that you can read it. Again, whether you read it with me here collectively or you read it on your own, I don't care. Read it. Read it. I'm simply doing this for the sake of accountability to and for one another, but then too, to get it out there for those who may not have access to or listen in the third or just want to listen to it in passing. And I'm recording it for archive's sake because outside of me, once I leave this life, then my voice will remain. These recordings will remain. Okay. And whoever listens to it, whenever they get to it, then that'll be the perfect time for them to do so. I'll be the voice that they hear it from. And it'll be recorded in the archive for them to do so. Okay. So listen, get the book. Get the book. Visit the website, you all. Visit my website on Clubhouse. It's right above my head. Just tap above my head and you'll be right to the website. Everybody else is on the screen. Go to my website. Go to my website and see what it is that I have to offer. See who I am, and you can see exactly what I specialize in all areas. I'm not just a doctor in cognitive behavioral therapy and psychotherapy, but I also am a spiritual mentor. I'm a relationship and intimacy guide and mentor. I do life. I'm a master life and purpose coach, and it's a whole bunch of different things. Whole bunch of different things. All of that, and I am certified in all. I've taken courses in Purdue University, Harvard, Cornell. Yes, I've done a lot of different programs. And I have a lot of different certifications and accreditations. I do what I do, and I do it for real. Okay, all right. So listen, visit the site. Take advantage of some of the services that I have to offer, purchase some of the things, the books, the merchandise, and things that I have to offer there. It's all there for you, okay? Also follow me on social media, you all. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of those places. Dr. Bianca Mz Bee Lee, okay? Dr. Bianca Mz Bee Lee. Alrighty, you all. Again, on Tuesday, we'll be back here at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be reading through chapter 17 entitled Transformation. But as of right now, we are complete for today. Please go and enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy your family for the remainder of this weekend. Prepare for the week to come. All hits, no misses. All wins, no losses. All we do is win. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Already, you all have a great evening. I love you. I mean it. There is absolutely, positively nothing you can do about it. Don't you even try it. We'll see you back here on Tuesday night, right here at Divine Femininity United. Peace.